So, hello everyone once again. My name is Taras and I'm a partner of a company, ITSM Delivery. Just in short, who are we and where we come from? Is there any sound? Basically, what you see here in this funny cartoon is that we are trying to say that we are finding talents in IT, engineering specialties, and also provide adaptive outsource solutions, in simple words, contractors. Also, last year we started an additional service which is called IT projects. Basically, we are also providing outsource. But today we are going to talk about mainly resources. And about strategic locations. We are actually located in two main locations. In Scandinavia, this is Stockholm, and in Riga, in Latvia, it's Riga. Basically, I think 2 years ago we were discussing that these two locations look like a vacuum cleaner which are pumping the sources to Scandinavia. But this is already all joke because the salaries actually of IT people in Baltics has grown dramatically. Basically, I will skip this slide because it's just more or less in details what we are doing. And if someone wants to know, then can easily contact me after the session. In simple words, what is Agile for HR? Basically, it's a way of organizing the HR function that facilitates the flexibility in matching workforce fluctuations to demand. If to simplify what I say, is basically Agile helps to be HR department adaptive and responsive. And in simpler words, it means that they can better understand and reflect what the people saying internally, and also they can better understand what the customers are saying, basically from business side. So that provides them flexibility and speed of reaction to the things what are happening in the market and apply those changes in the company. More details you can check actually in the source hrtrendinstitute.com. But then about the trends. What we actually know that Agile has changed the rules of the game and basically putting the people in the center of organization rather than putting processes or different tools, procedures and so on, like it was back in the days. So basically, Agile was never a process or procedure. It's basically a mindset of a culture what you are trying to cultivate. So it's basically you try to agree with people how they act. And now it's time actually call to arms. So far, corporate culture was in the hands of HR. So it's time to hack the old way of doing things. Please raise your hands who knows what is Agile. Oh, pretty many, and pretty many also doesn't know, so perhaps you will know something important today. So actually Agile was born in Agile Manifesto when a lot of people gathered around, especially from IT industry, and tried to decide how they gonna act in the future in managing complex business solutions. So it's actually born in agilemanifesto.org with 12 values, which they also formulate as Agile Manifesto. Some of these values we have put here, which most probably also could be applied in HR. Individuals and interactions versus processes and tools. Working software versus comprehensive documentation. Customer collaboration is more important than contract negotiation, and responding to change is better than following a plan. So basically what we say, or Agile Manifesto says, that things on the right are also important, but our focus as Agile people is mainly lying on the things on the left. You can read also more details on agilemanifesto.org about those values and what they mean by those values. Does Agile also applicable outside IT? Yes, it is. And there are many examples which are written in details, but since I don't like details, I will explain you in more simple slide. One of our good friends, Pierre Nice, doing the one migration project in SAP, he actually said that Agile can be gathered in simple topics. He mentioned those four. They will deliver at last each month. Treat people as adults and also treat people as equal beings. Inspect and adapt. Basically, it allows you to understand when you need to react or when you need to be calm, basically. Ask the team. Don't judge before or don't assume. But what works best? So far we've been a little bit only in the theory. So now we can play a little bit a game also with audience. So you see the three pictures, 1, 2, 3, and how do you think which one is serving best to deliver a person from point A to point B? If someone thinks that it's number 1, please raise a hand. Everyone is clever. If someone thinks that it's number 2, please raise your hands. Oh, good, interesting. And maybe there are some people who are thinking it's number 3. And some people didn't vote, I remember. So basically, let me debrief a little bit. Number 1 is ordinary command and control. Than we used to apply back in the days. It works, it's good, it was actually reliable, but it's not efficient. It's not the best efficient approach. Self-regulating roundabouts, where people are regulating themselves, knowing some rules, is actually the best way of organizing the flow. And the number 3 is actually chaos, which also applicable in some cultures. It's actually called flock of birds. Actually, flock of birds is also ideally organized system, but you need to be a bird to be in that ideal system. So what does Agile say? Agile says that self-organizing teams, which are knowing the rules of the games, are most efficient. You don't need to regulate them once you applied the rules. And there are many hidden objectives of Agile which can be a part of a separate presentation. I can mention some of them. It's continuous improvement, self-organization, changing requirements, simplicity. For example, in one of our projects with a bank, they had a slogan, improve and remove. So basically, improvement for them meant to remove every waste which was stopping them from development. Sustainable pace, customer satisfaction, biz and dev working together, and so on. What about challenges? How do you think? In what kind of environment we are living? Is it slow and tranquil? Or is it fast and furious? Yes, someone is saying to me that it's fast and furious. That's totally right. We are living a little bit crazy time. Technologies are booming, everything is booming. So, one of our Swiss colleagues, I refer to many colleagues today, but it's good, was saying that during all these years we were thinking that the world is turning around us. But now the world is turning so fast that we don't understand it anymore. It's pretty nice saying, but what does he mean? It actually can be answered by some surfers. I know also some of them personally, and they have such saying that good thing with the water, when you jump in, you get wet. But when you boil it, or when you heat it, it's really starting boiling. So what does it actually mean for us practically? For us, it means that currently we already cannot learn things in advance to know how the world will change. We need to get up, jump in, and try to ride the wave. And only getting by this, our experience, we can try to understand how to react better, thus gaining some knowledge what we are obtaining by this practice. It's not possible to already to sit in the class and get all the knowledge in advance. Of course, you can try to get some inspirations by the books. It will be also good knowledge, but anyhow, you will be forced to step out. And what about the solutions? What can we do? In the past, already some things were happening. People were trying to find solutions. Back in the days, such things like mass production, automation, and commoditization were in the focus of the center of economy. And the waterfall approaches, those who doesn't know, those are classical methods of leading the projects, which were coming from scientific management, described by Taylor and Drucker, sorry, it's not one person, it's two persons. Actually defined such thing like a control over functions. Were actually managed by waterfall approaches pretty well. And at that point, they were best fit for purpose to serve those targets and challenges of economy, to produce more efficiently, to get the statistics, and to define the better plans. But then paradigm has changed. We stepped into a new era, which was causing the lean appearance. And the lean introduced actually system thinking, where the Hammer, Senge, Kaplan, Nonaka introduced such understanding like control of information. There we could define such typical topics for lean like mass customization, scalable and reliable technology, and of course communication. So actually system thinking allows you to control the increased system with a lot of information very well. And it's not only about how to produce more or how to produce more efficiently. It's more about what kind of information we possess and what to do. Predecessor for big data. And lean, of course, has lots of tools and lots of methods how to make it. You can read it later on separately or ask me for some advices if you wish so. But nowadays, what happens nowadays? Nowadays we step to such topic as a sense making. What does it actually mean? We need to make sense out of what happens. What is actually the problem? What is the nature of the problem? How the problem works? And how we actually can situate the problem to a network. What does it mean? It means that we can address the problem to a group of people who are able to solve this problem. And the big risk of this topic is that if you are making wrong assumption, addressing the problem to a wrong group of people, those people will be using wrong methods, wrong ideas, wrong tools, wrong approaches, and we will not solve problem efficiently. But I have interesting tool for this, how to solve it. It's called Cinefin. Does anyone know what is Cinefin? Someone knows, that's good. It's actually a method how to categorize the problematic areas. Actually, those are split into 4 domains: simple, complicated, complex, and chaotic. So simple actually means that the cause and effect have always predefined path. So we always know if we do something, we will know the outcome. So if we do A, we will know that it will be B. If we do B, it will be C. And there is a good example like ITIL, the methodology which describes your processes in IT as a company. We will know that there is a change request, there are incidents, there are problems, there is something else. And we will know how to categorize those problems. Changes are going to one folder, incidents to another, and so on. And we will know how to respond to those problems. But there are situations that can only experts tell you what will happen. And this is a complicated environment. For example, if you do something, you need to ask an expert what will happen next. And a good example of this is a rocket, building a rocket. So if I want to build a rocket, I will not build it myself. I need to ask someone to make the calculations, at least, how to fly to the moon. And then there is a good example of, not example, but good probability. If you build another rocket, you will gather already scientific data how to make it even better. So it's gathering the expertise. And this is typical complicated environment. But the world moved faster and even to more complex things. And we are moving to complex domain. Basically here, we cannot apply already knowledge of experts because we cannot know what will happen. Basically, it's like this. The cause and effect are correlated or can be known only retrospectively. So unless we will not try, we will not know. And the typical example, for ladies it will be interesting, it's raising kids. You cannot know either your kid will be growing in this direction or that direction. You can only try to apply certain methods to understand how your kid reacts on this. So this is typical area of complex things, and actually Agile is very useful here because of running of small experiments, getting the feedback, getting the retrospectives, you can understand what happens faster. Last but not least, chaotic environment. It's actually one good example, for example, is fire in your flat. Not very nice, but hopefully it will not happen. So in this case, you cannot predict the dependency between cause and effect. And you cannot, of course, invite an expert and discuss with him what to do with this fire. Or, for example, write a process, how to deal with fire when it's there. Of course, there are instructions how to deal with it, but anyhow, it's not the same. So what most probably you will do, you are going to try to diminish that fire yourself. If you are not succeed, then you try to move the problem to the complex domain by inviting the fire brigade. And then the fire brigade, actually with bunch of small experiments and activities, will try to do their best to kill the fire. But what about HR? How this can be applied in HR? Obvious domain, or simple domain in other words, consists, for example, of payrolls, checklists, payslips, invoices, and so on. And most probably you don't need to build up cross-functional team or with cross-border locations with many experts to pay your payroll. Most probably you don't need it. But what you need in complicated environment, some expert who could put your processes on the level and keep your company on top of the trends. For example, if you care about your motivation of your people as HR, you would pay to the benefits manager very good salary and keep that expert alive in your company because he needs to think and provide his expertise how to build up benefits management on the very top. What about complex domain? One more topic in complicated domain. But do we need actually agile here or adaptive approach? I would say no, because it's just expertise whom we need to keep in the house, and that's it. But there are many ways where we can apply the agile as a process. It's a complex domain. For example, organizational change or innovation process. When you do organizational change, lots of things are close to chaotic, and that's allowing you splitting to small iterations, predict bigger effects in the company. So running small experiments, what will be the outcome if we do this and that? The same with innovation. Trying to predict big effect if you run a small experiment on certain innovative approaches. Last but not least, chaos. Also interesting environment. And it can be here, for example, viral reputational damage. As a good example, there was from gaming industry recently. One gaming company actually released a one new game, and one guy who tried that game out wrote in the portal what he didn't like certain features there. And then company representatives were a little bit like ignorant, they were not paying attention to this feedback, and someone just wrote, if you don't like it, just don't buy it. And they were starting a buzz. A whole community in the gaming industry started to discuss this feedback, and lots of people getting involved like a snowball from the hill, more and more discussions in different portals and so on. And tomorrow, after this situation, the company owners woke up with minus 20% of their capitalization, just because of one feedback. So, and they needed to deal with that chaos. What about more solutions? Understanding the culture, pretty generalistic topic, but what in detail it means you need to talk to your people and understand. It works. To understand what they are built from a mindset point of view, where they stand today and where they stand tomorrow. And you can basically see what kind of different levels of, not levels, but sections of people culture do exist. Some of them are focusing on product excellence, some of them are focusing more on people, and so on and so on. Like, for example, for me, Swedish environment is more known than people are trying to reach all the time consensus. They are meeting for endless meetings, saying that you have good ideas, but nothing happens for 5 years. But everyone is happy. For example, Finnish environment is pretty different. There is one meeting with lots of direct feedback, and tomorrow they start to work. After 2 months, they understand they had a wrong decision, and then start again. So pretty different cultures, huh? Communication is also one important topic in the company. What's real communication and what is declared communication? Sometimes those are two different things. For example, communication can look like this. And this is a network. People are talking to each other, interacting with each other, not only in official channel. So if this is a network, can we say that Agile tries to follow the reality of communication flow of the organization? So if you don't like truth and honesty, you would not like Agile, like Henry Knieberg said. Last, just to a little bit entertain you also with a small heart. There is it's called actually Heart of Agile. There are 4 simple things: collaborate, deliver, reflect, and improve. First one, collaborate. If you are not encouraging collaboration among your developers and business, among your HR and management, among your management and engineers, among your customers and representatives, nothing will happen. You will not be in the Agile community as such. Second is to deliver. Deliver the goddamn thing. Deliver often and frequently. And this gives you an opportunity to reflect. And there are lots of ways of reflections. How is your customer doing? Is he satisfied? Is our delivery model good? Are we delivering to the needed point? Lots of ways how to reflect, for example, through retrospectives, through workshops, seminars, whatsoever. And the last, but most important, we are not only talking, we're also trying to do something, and we're trying to improve. Be a little bit better, but every day. Don't do a revolution in one day, but with small steps. So I wish you a lot of collaboration and let the heart of Agile be with you. Thank you.